Cool. So, sushi first. What we've got is I've cooked some sushi rice. Really easy. Did this earlier today. Obviously, sushi is cold, so you want to sort of cook it in advance, season it up, and then let it cool before you use it. So it's really easy. Just bought this sushi rice from the supermarket. Cook it pretty similar to normal rice. You just sort of same weight rice to water. Wash it first, sort of 3 or 4 times until the water runs a bit clearer. And then once it's cooked, while it's hot, I've just seasoned it up with a little bit of solution I've made from vinegar. Normally use rice wine vinegar if you can, but you can use kind of white wine vinegar or any sort of pale or clear coloured vinegar. So vinegar, sugar, salt, and a little bit of water as well, just to dilute it a little bit. So that's the rice. What I'm going to do is I'm going to roll it now. What I'm going to stuff it with is red pepper. I've julienned here, some pickled red cabbage, and some avocado. So let me just cut the avocado first. Just kind of want everything to be of similar kind of size. So just prep the avocado nice and thinly, similar to the red pepper we've got there. And then the pickled red cabbage. I'll talk you through how to pickle things and how I've pickled this red cabbage. If you don't want to pickle things yourself, you know, I'm sure you can get a nice pickled red cabbage in a jar or something from the supermarket. But pickling things, you know, don't shy away from it. It's really easy, it's quite rewarding, really tasty, and you can keep it for ages, just in the fridge in a jar or something. So we've got some avocado there. So yeah, the pickled red cabbage, this is what it looks like in here. Got a little bit of, grab it out. So all you have to do is just cut whatever you're pickling, so in this case obviously red cabbage, into whatever shape or size you like, and then it's all in the pickling liquor really. So you just make a pickling liquor, which is just vinegar, sugar and water, and a little bit of salt, and all you do is put all that in a pan, bring it up to the boil, and then pour that liquor over whatever you're pickling, so red cabbage in this case, and then just pour it into a container, let it cool down, and there you've got your pickle. So for most things I pickle, I normally use a ratio of 3 parts vinegar, 2 parts sugar, and 1 part water. Obviously, depending on what you're pickling and how you want it to taste, you can change that up. You can use more sugar if you want it to be particularly sweet. So if I was pickling something like ginger or chili, for example, I might use a bit more sugar, because that kind of raw kind of spiciness works really well with kind of a sweeter sort of candied flavour. So that'd be really nice. But as a general rule, yeah, sort of 3 to 2 to 1 ratio of vinegar, water, and sugar. So that's the pickle. I'll get on to actually rolling it now. You will need obviously a few slightly kind of specialty ingredients. Everything that you can get from the supermarket really easily, so don't worry too much, and it's not too expensive either. So this is just sushi nori. Nori is literally just roasted seaweed. It's just a sheet of roasted seaweed. Really tasty, like really sort of savoury flavour, kind of salty sea flavour. Really tasty. So I'll roll 2 for you. We'll start with 1. And then also you might need a sushi mat. If you haven't got one of these, really not a problem. I've used like a sort of a slab of an old cereal box before, just wrapped it in a little bit of cling film, and that works fine. So right, I'll get rolling now. So first, what you want to do is line the sheet with rice. Got a little bit of just jug of water, just warm water here. The sushi rice is really sticky, so when you're handling it, you're going to want to dip your hand in water, so it sort of stops it sticking as much. You can actually handle it sort of fairly easily that way. That's what you want to do, is just line the whole sheet with kind of a fairly thin layer of sushi rice. Just push it all the way to the edges, make sure the whole thing is covered. As I say, it's really, really sticky, so it immediately sticks to the nori and to each other. So you don't have to like press it down really hard or clamp it up or anything. You just kind of roughly get it on there. You can top this, so with this roll, the rice is actually going to be on the outside rather than the nori. And you can top this rice with whatever you want. Sesame seeds are probably the most common thing. But you can do kind of like a chili powder, all sorts of things really. I'm going to keep mine plain today. But a lot of the time I would use sort of black and white sesame seeds. Just makes it look really nice, and you get that kind of toasted nutty kind of flavour from the seeds as well, which is really delicious. So yeah, once you got to this stage, that part is done. Then what you want to do is just flip it over, and we're going to put the fillings in here on this side. Just make a little row of the fillings you want. So today we're going for avocado, red pepper, and as I said, the pickled red cabbage. So just line it up in the middle like that. It doesn't have to be perfect, obviously it's all going to be rolled, and then you're going to kind of trim the edges as well, so it doesn't have to be perfectly neat. Like that, and then finally the pickled red cabbage. Beautiful. And then to roll it, what I tend to do is I kind of loosely roll it, sort of manually, as I would say, with your hands, and then use the mat to kind of seal it and roll it nice and tight and keep it in the desired shape. So it's literally pretty self-explanatory. Literally just roll it over like that, tuck it in a little bit, and as I said, the rice is really, really sticky, so it will just stick on its own. So just roll it loosely like that, and then just bring it to sort of the far side, or well, to me, the near side of the sushi mat, and just kind of roll it. You want to kind of like pinch it back a little bit, make it nice and taut and solid, so it can kind of maintain that shape. Just roll it up, and then I just kind of go like that, just to kind of make sure everything's even. And there you go, you've got a sushi roll. So I'll roll one more quickly. Just cut this up. So yeah, I'll roll one more, and then I'll cut it up and show you how I would personally serve it. So again, just for you guys' benefits, nori on the mat. Wet your hands with the jug of water you got next to you, and then just take a little clump of rice and just kind of work it from the centre out to the edges. Don't have to press it down too hard, it will just stick by itself. Just make sure that whole sheet is covered. You shouldn't really be able to see the nori too much. Cool, and then you flip it over. You can roll it this way and then roll it like that. That would just be called just standard maki. This is uru maki. U-R-U, I believe it's spelled. So yeah, then flip it over. Avocado. Can't pick it up. Avocado. red pepper, and the pickled red cabbage. Nice and in the centre. Just clean my hands a little bit. And then just, yeah, as I say, loosely roll it to start with. Tuck it under, make sure all the filling is sort of in the middle, not spewing out this edge, because it will stop it sticking. Doesn't matter if it's coming out these ends, because you're going to trim the edges a little bit, just to make it nice and neat. So it doesn't matter if things are poking out here, just make sure it's all clear here, so it's just the rice touching this side of the nori, so it will stick nicely and hold its shape, as I say. Just give it a gentle kind of press, and then you can finish rolling that with the mat. So pull it back a little bit, get it nice and tight, make sure it's properly stuck down, and then just roll it out a little bit. This is just how I do it. I used to work in a restaurant that served sushi for lunchtime, so I've rolled a huge amount of sushi in my time. This is how I've done it every time, and it seems to work. If you talk to a Japanese sushi master, they might tell you something slightly different, but this has always been pretty perfect for me. So we're going to now just cut them. You want to make sure your knife is really sharp here, because if it's a little bit blunt, you're going to have to put more pressure on it to cut through it, and by doing that you're going to kind of misshape the roll. You're going to squash it a bit. So just make sure your knife is really sharp. Just let your knife do the work. Another tip, wet your knife as well. Use the same water that you've done your hands in. Just wet the blade, because again, if you don't do that, the rice will stick to the blade and then it won't cut properly. So what we're going to do, trim the edges first. Just let the knife do the work. Nice sort of long strokes, not too much pressure on there. Trim the edges. Nice and neat. Don't waste that, you can eat that. It tastes the same as the rest of it, but I'm just making it look nice and neat. So chow that down. And then once you've trimmed the edges, go for the middle. And then each of those can be cut into 3 kind of equal pieces. Notice I'm tapping the excess water off my blade, so I don't kind of ruin the sushi roll and make it really wet. You just want the blade to be wet so it doesn't stick, but you don't want it, you know, dripping off and making everything soaking. And there we go, that's kind of what it looks like. Beautiful. So each roll, yeah, cut each roll into 6. Which is probably good for, well, maybe 2 rolls per person, depending on what you want really. So I do the second one. Exactly the same. Down the middle. Lovely. And then into 3 again. Beautiful. Now you've got your uramaki sushi roll. Completely vegan, really healthy. Obviously you've just got avocado, red pepper and cabbage in there. Basically no fat at all, really healthy and absolutely delicious. What I would do is I'll serve that. The Japanese are absolutely mad on soy sauce and wasabi. You can buy both of them from the supermarket. Kinkerman's the best soy sauce to use usually, or one of the best anyway. So yeah, just serve that with that, a little dipping sauce. Absolutely wonderful. Careful when you're using wasabi. If you haven't had it before, it is very, very strong stuff. So just be careful of it. Use it with a little bit of caution. That's what I'm trying to say. So cool, that'll be the starter done then. Beautiful little uramaki roll. Put them to one side and I'll eat them in a minute. And then what I'm going to do for main, very different, doesn't really tie up too much, but I wanted to give you guys a little bit of kind of variation. But it's going to be a Mexican style baked sweet potato that I'm going to stuff with cauliflower rice, then top with a really nice fresh salsa, guacamole, and a little bit of sour cream if you're not vegan. So I've got some sweet potatoes in the oven already, but just to show you what I've done with them, I'll sort of prep another one. Let me just clean down quickly. So, what I did to the sweet potatoes, oh, sorry, that was quite loud. What I did to the sweet potatoes is just kind of randomly stab it with a fork all over, like so. And then just going to season it up a little bit, just sort of drizzle of olive oil, not too much. Just standard olive oil there, a little bit of salt, and then I used a little bit of smoked paprika as well. You can use anything really, just keep it sort of plain with salt and pepper. Adds a little bit of extra zing to the skin. And then you just rub it all in. And then stick it in the oven at about sort of 190 for, I would say, sort of 30 to 35 minutes. And yeah, that's exactly what I did. So that's that. Let me just wash my hands quickly. So as I say, I've got a few of them in the oven already, so I won't cook that one just yet. What we're going to go on to next is I'm going to put the cauliflower rice on to cook. So all this is, I did prep this earlier because do it in a food process. I thought that'd be a little bit too loud for this, but all it is, it's just this is a whole cauliflower. Just trim it up, take the outer leaves off, and then in a food processor or blender or whatever, just chop it up a bit, put it in there, and just blend it up until it's this kind of consistency, just into really small, fine pieces. I'd actually kind of say it resembles the consistency of couscous a little bit more than rice, but there you go. And at the moment this is raw. All you need to do is stick it in a pan, tiny little bit of oil, kind of a low to medium heat, and just sort of cook it through for 7-8 minutes. You kind of want to steam it more than anything, so if you've got a lid for your pan, you can use that, and that'll be perfect in about 8 minutes time. So I'll get that on now. So I'll just wait for that to heat up and then pop that on. In the meantime, what I'm going to do, let me just move this out of the way, is I'm going to finish this salsa. So I did a little bit of it earlier. All that's in here at the moment is tomatoes, onion, a little bit of chilli and a clove of garlic, all just really finely sliced. I'm going to show you how I cut everything. I sort of did half of it so I could show you the other half. So what we've got here, obviously half an onion. All I've done is taken the top off. I've left the root on, as you can see there. And then you just peel it, peel the skin and any sort of outer layers that don't look too nice. Peel that off, and then I want to dice that really finely. So I'll show you how I dice that. Don't worry about speed, just get the technique right and get it nice and fine. Doesn't matter about speed. What you're going to want to do is basically go across it, down and across, all along, and then across this side. So I'll show you. So 3 fingers, 2 behind, 1 in front, and then just sort of with the tip of your knife, you kind of want to pull it back towards you, so you get a nice clean cut all the way through, so like that, nice and fine. Like so, and then just down across it. Not only is this way really good because all the pieces are even and the same size, but also it means you don't waste anything at all really. So I've got that much left, and I'll go across it that way, and then I'll go across it that way, and there, and that's literally all I'm wasting from half an onion. So it's really good for saving on waste as well. So I would always, if I was dicing an onion, I would always do it that way. Obviously you can cut onions in hundreds of different shapes, but if I wanted to dice it, I would always do it that way. Because yeah, zero waste and really good sort of end product. Just mix that in, onion, tomato. I'll show you how I cut the tomatoes as well. Got some here. Again, kind of want everything the same size, nice and fine. You can do salsas sort of more chunky, like pico de gallo. Sort of you tend to use red onions, and it's kind of a lot more chunkier. But for this one, it's a fairly standard kind of salsa recipe that I use a lot, but I like it really fine. So it's all kind of the same consistency. It's not liquidy, I wouldn't say, but it's it's a little bit looser than sort of a chunkier salsa would be. So yeah, again, just finely chop the tomatoes. I don't know why I'm doing them one by one. So I put them into quarters first, so I realise you can't see my hands actually in the way. So I put them into quarters first through the eye, like that, and then this way as well. And then I'd chop them across like that, so then we quarter them all first, and then I'll cut them nice and finely from there. Cool, and then just across like that, nice and fine. Doesn't have to be perfect, obviously. It's all going in one big bowl and being mixed up, so you're hardly going to notice a few little bits that are slightly bigger than the others. Just do as best as you can. Again, don't worry about the speed, just careful of your fingers and all that. But yeah, just make sure you get them nice and fine. Cool, so that's that. So you can add that to the bowl. Add that to the bowl, give it a good mix. And then, so at the moment, as I said, we've got tomatoes, onion, a little bit of red chilli, and 1 clove of garlic that I've, again, just cut really fine, kind of more crushed it really. Just raw garlic, so you don't want to use too much because raw garlics are really kind of harsh, really intense flavour, so you don't want to use a lot of garlic if you're using it. I'd say in anything, if you're keeping it raw, you want to keep garlic sort of fairly minimal because it is such a harsh flavour. Yeah, so that's what we've got in there, and then we're going to finish that. We're just going to season it up with lemon juice, salt, and a little bit of olive oil as well. Just going to get this cauliflower rice in the pan now. Turn the heat down just a tad. Okay, so yeah, just to finish off this salsa, juice of probably 1 lemon. I like it quite zingy, my salsas. I absolutely love lemons and lemon juice, so I tend to use a fair amount. But for this amount, yeah, 1 lemon should be enough, especially if it's as juicy as this one. Perfect. Again, give that a little mix and just finish that off with a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. Again, not too much. Again, fairly strong flavour, so you don't want to, you don't want to just be tasting olive oil. But I do think it helps it kind of give that richness and kind of sort of binds it together a little bit as well. And then some salt. And I almost forgot a lot of coriander as well. I absolutely love coriander. I know some people don't, some weird genetic thing about coriander, but if you're doing Mexican food, you've got to have a little bit of coriander in there. And I'm okay with that because I absolutely love it. So quite healthy kind of chunk. Stalks and all are fine. If you cut it fine enough in the stalks, you won't really notice the kind of fibrous stalks. So not, again, nice and fine. Only cut through it once, I would say. You see a lot of people cut things down like this and then go over it like this. I don't particularly like doing that because you bruise the leaves a lot, and I feel like you lose a lot of flavour. If you do that and then you move it, you'll notice that there's a lot of green left on the board. And that's flavour really. So if you cut it fine enough just the first time, you don't need to go over it again. And if you notice, my board has got 0 green marks left on it. A few little leaves obviously, but 0 sort of green bleeding from the leaves. So all that flavour is still in that coriander and therefore in the salsa. So again, just make sure you do things properly. You cut through it nice and fine. You don't need to cut through it again, and you've got the product you want first time around. So I'll give that a little taste now. As a chef, you should, or just as a cook, if you're cooking a meal, constantly taste things. You're not supposed to know if something's good tasting if you don't taste it. So taste things constantly. So that's quite nice, but I would say a little bit more olive oil, touch more salt, and actually a little pinch of sugar. I normally put a bit of sugar in my salsa because tomatoes are naturally sweet anyway, obviously, so it goes well with that, brings it out nicely. You want that sweetness from the tomatoes, just a pinch, just using caster sugar there. Mix that up. And give it another little taste. Shouldn't really be using the same spoon, but I'm cooking for myself, so it's okay. If I'm cooking for other people, I would obviously wash the spoon before putting it back in there. Yeah, and that's really nice now. So that's the salsa done. Just going to clean down this bit. Okay, so got the cauliflower rice in here. Give it a little mix. We don't want colour on this. Don't want it to brown or anything. So just keep it at a low heat. What you really want to do is if you've got a lid for the pan you're using, pop it on and you kind of steam the rice, which is ideally what you want to do. I haven't actually got a lid for this one. So doing a bit of a makeshift lid with a pizza peel, but it'll work. That's fine, not a problem. Cool. So just a few components of the dish left to do. A nice guacamole, and then just some really simple sour cream and lime. So I'll do the guacamole. Use a few avocados. Just cut down the middle like so. Let me move these. So just cut down the middle like so, then all the way around. Oh, that wasn't very good. All the way around, being careful of your hands. Perfect. Take your seed out. And then with a large spoon, get that out into the bowl. If you're going to use avocados from the shop, I would buy them several days before you intend to actually use them, because although they say they're ripe and ready, they never really are. So yeah, then there's nothing worse than working with a rock hard avocado that you can't mash up or can't slice or anything. So just a little bit of planning involved there. Cool, so that's I'm using 1.5 avocados. Depends how much you like how much you like black. You can use as many as you want. I'm only feeding 3 people tonight, so that should be enough. All I'm going to do with this is really simple. You just want to taste the avocado really. So just a little bit of lime juice in there. That also, with the citric acid in there, actually helps it or prevents it from going brown as quickly as well. So that is a really useful tip if you're ever working with things that brown. Lemon juice or lime juice, or just anything with citric acid in will really help stop that. So lime juice and salt, that's basically it. You can do all sorts of things with guacamole. You can put finely diced red onion through it, or chili, a little bit of honey, anything you want really. Just mash it up with a spoon. Oh, I know this is really loud. Beautiful, and that's basically done. Let me just check the seasoning, taste it again. Yeah, nice, just a touch more of that. Cool. That's that. That's the guacamole done. And then last but not least, just want to season up your sour cream really. Nothing particularly special about this, literally just sour cream out of the tub. Obviously this is not vegan, this is dairy, so if you are vegan or you want to stay vegan, or sort of keep this recipe vegan, I mean, is obviously you would leave this out. But if you're vegetarian, then you can use this. So sour cream. I love sour cream, so I'm going to do a fair amount here. Sour cream and a lime. This time I'm going to use, as well as the juice, but the zest as well. Beautiful, bit of zest and then juice. Probably, obviously sour cream is slightly sour already, so I'll probably only use half a lime for this. Give that a mix. Touch of salt and pepper as well, if I can find it. Just a little bit of pepper. I would normally use cracked black pepper, actual peppercorns, but I've just moved into a new house and I haven't actually got a pepper mill yet, which is quite upsetting, but hey ho. So right, that's the sour cream done. Absolutely delicious. So all that's left really to do now is kind of plate up and assemble. Hopefully the sweet potatoes are ready in the oven. The cauliflower rice is ready now. Just check it's hot all the way through, which it is. Taste it. Probably does need some seasoning. Obviously, it's literally just cauliflower on its own, so just yeah, just a little bit of salt through it, and we should be good to go really. Mix that in. Lovely. Right, let me check my sweet potatoes. My new oven isn't amazing, so hopefully they're all right. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, perfect, cool. So I've got 2 here. Okay. Get my plate ready. A few things in the bin. Okay, so yeah, the sweet potato is absolutely perfectly cooked. The skin will be slightly crispy, and you just want the flesh inside to be really soft and tender. Which, if you just give it a bit of a squeeze, you can see it is. So I'm going to cut it down the middle, like so. Open it up slightly. Looks absolutely beautiful. Just kind of flesh it out a little bit. And then all that's left to do is just pile everything on really, so I'll pop it on the plate. So cauliflower rice first, in there. Lovely. So yeah, cauliflower rice salsa. A little bit more. Beautiful. As you can see, this is quite a large portion actually, so nice comforting meal. Bit of guac. And then last but not least, some sour cream. Beautiful. And that's it really, that is pretty much done. Maybe just top it with a little bit more fresh coriander. Beautiful. And that's done. That's my dinner for tonight. You can go home and cook that and let me know what you think. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope it was a little bit informative. Hope you've learned something. Go home and try these recipes, and I really hope you enjoy them. Thanks very much. Bye bye.